Content Analysis Assignment Number 2, Writing Evaluation and Strategy Implementation by Brenda Flinn. In the classroom, I observed there were several different types of writing opportunities. The class engaged in phoneme dictation using a curriculum called Johnny Can Spell. The teacher did a dictation using phonemic flashcards and began a drill where the students were to repeat chorally, and then the phonemes were given again, and this time the students were to write them without looking at the cards. The teacher gave the class a sentence using a word or word with phonemes, and the students were asked to write it the best way they could. The teacher then modeled the correct way of writing the phonemes in the given sentence. The second writing opportunity was for the students to write in a writing journal within their guided reading groups with the teacher. After the teacher gave them a prompt to write about, they spent about 5 minutes or so writing down their ideas in the journal. The writing exercise was not graded, it was merely used for practice and assessment. The third writing opportunity was a written retell of a short passage read aloud by the teacher. In this case, she read a book. It was called Winnie. This was outlined on, this retell document was outlined and presented up on the document camera for the students to follow. And she gave them practice in writing the beginning, middle, and end of a story. The writing journal is part of a daily 5 activity where the student is given a daily prompt to write about. Johnny Can Spell was used with flashcards, and the retell was given on the board in an outline that they wrote on their own paper. The print functions that I identified were in the first slide were graphophonemic units, and Johnny Can Spell. They practice the letters in a combination of letters by listening, speaking, reading, and then writing in this particular curriculum. The next one was sentence mapping, and students are given a sentence to write using the prior knowledge or new knowledge to attempt writing a declarative sentence using learned phonemes and correct punctuation. Written retells, the students were given a short passage, in this case a book, and are expected to recognize characters, settings, and sequential events. The evidence here I have in Figure 1 is the actual Johnny Can Spell flashcards. Figure 2 is the outline of the retelling of a story, and Figure 3 is their writing journals. I can identify these 3 types of print functions within the classroom I'm observing. The teacher used these Johnny Can Spell cards for phoneme dictation, and the students were given this form on the doc cam as an outline to retell their story for the beginning, middle, and end, and there was a little space if they wanted to illustrate or draw anything pertaining or connecting their story retell. And then the last thing was every student had a writing journal that they wrote in daily and were given 2 choices to write about, and in this particular case it was used in their guided reading group, which is a small group that is teacher led. Excuse me. For the writing sample context, I'm going to talk about writing sample number 1. The context that aligns with this curriculum standard is 2.7D. I can retell a story by writing in my own words what the story is about in meaningful order. Students participated in a read aloud called Winnie. The students were then asked leveled comprehension questions that targeted important information. in the story and promoted deeper thinking about character traits and feelings. The students were able to retell the story verbally and then allowed to write the beginning, middle, and end on their own. The writing sample number 1 here is the content area was RLA second grade. This is the writing sample that I'm talking about. This is the written retell of the story Winnie. It was a read aloud by the teacher, and according to the PLDs, I see that the student is advanced high because she can write with little to no second language acquisition supports. Um, this is the sample of her retell, and this was in a whole group classroom setting. Writing sample number 2, also in the second grade RLA content area. This is an entry of her writing journal for the prompt about students' favorite memories. And in this prompt, I can see she wrote about her dog's birthday. And for the most part, for a second grader, I feel like she would be advanced high because she is spelling correctly and using vocabulary that would be conducive to advanced high in this grade level. A small guided reading group teacher assist was the place that this was where this took place. Writing sample number 3. Again, content area is reading language arts second grade, and this is the sample of the Johnny Can Spell graphophonemic unit. This is the student sample of the writing dictation where you can see the graphemes, the phonograms, the sentence that have the verb and noun underlined, and then 4 words using the phonemes they learned. And this happened in a whole group general education classroom. The proficiency level of my student, she is a second grader, and the program type that I would say is mainstream general education. After speaking with the teacher, she does not have any pullouts or interventions, so she is in mainstream general education, and the instruction is in English. It is English heavy, the classroom is English dominant, and the support that Adeline gets is our visual and peer support, individualized teacher support as well. The writing strategies that I chose were out of the textbook in chapter 8 was strategy number 1, free writing. I chose this strategy for Alan because she can understand English and shows mastery of frequent words, and uh, she can decode words with little to no assistance. I think free writing would give her the freedom to experience new ideas and be able to put her ideas together to produce a high quality piece of focused writing. In our textbook, it states with practice, writers can write without constraints and not have to worry about getting it right and pay more attention to shaping their ideas. And I felt like since Adeline has mastered most of her vocabulary and English language structure, that this is something maybe she can scaffold in to make her a better writer. The second strategy that I chose for Adeline is the personal dialogue and buddy journals. I chose this strategy for Adeline because after looking at her writing samples and comparing them to the proficiency language descriptors, it's evident that she has mastered enough English vocabulary and language structure to be compatible with native English speakers in her classroom. Her writing shows that of an advanced high at her grade level and demonstrates the occasional errors in naturalness and phrasing. While reading our book, the authors talk about how the practice of writing in these journals gives the emergent bilingual a chance to write without worry of criticism as if they were while they were speaking. And this exercise provides practice to the students and promotes fluency. And I did find that to be profound, that um, even in education, that we can give our emergent bilinguals or ESLs an opportunity to express themselves without criticism, because so many times it's hard for them already, and it gives us a really good way to let them express their ideas and feelings, and also gives the teacher a great way to assess the writing abilities and progress of the curriculum in the state standard. Thank you.